What's going on, everybody? Before we get into our episode on the Italian Job, I do want to talk about the passing of legendary actor Donald Sutherland. His This is the first time I think we've talked about him on the show. His part isn't very big in this movie, but it definitely needs to be talked about just how legendary this man was. Pretty much everything that he touched was gold performance wise. He brought a presence on screen that will never be forgotten. And yeah, I just wanted to pay some respect to someone who I respected as an actor, someone who definitely, anytime I saw him on screen, I was just infatuated with. And even with his small part in the Italian Job, he really brought a presence that really electrified everybody else in the cast. And it was really good to see him. And it's always good to see him in anything that he would pop up in, even if it was just a small cameo. Um, but yeah, Donald Sutherland, rest in peace. Thank you for all the amazing work that you did over your career. And yeah, back to the episode. Enjoy our episode on the Italian Job.
Your host, Parker, Dan, and Angela slice and dice their way through the good,
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
the bad,
You brought the devil!
There's a devil inside everyone.
and the ugly movies you love.
And you can't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it!
Hold your favorite films and franchises tight, because they aren't safe. In fact, it's already too late. It's time to dissect that film.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Dissect That Film podcast, a podcast that dissects the good, the bad, and the ugly of cinema. I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me, as always, is my wonderful co-hosts, Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming.
Hello.
She screwed it up. Hello. God.
Finally got you.
You do that at the end, not the beginning.
No, it was fun. It was fun seeing it happen at that moment. It was great. It was great.
Yeah, go watch the video on YouTube. To see it, go watch the video on YouTube.
You got to see it on YouTube. You got to give us that one view. Come on. You guys can do it. I have faith in all of you out there.
It adds up.
Well, today is the final week of our Movies with Wheels month. And of course, the final episode of the month is always chosen by our wonderful patrons over at patreon.com/dissectthatfilm, where they chose between 3 movies that we picked. What were our choices? Angela, what was your
mine
choice?
is.
What was your choice, Angela? Joyride from 2001. My choice was Duel from 1973, the Steven Spielberg classic. And Dan's pick was today's winner and today's episode, which is 2003's.
Good.
Which never happens. Is that what you were going to say?
No, it doesn't happen. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but no, because I always pick the schlock shit. Nobody's going to pick this. But I will admit, any of these would have been a great choice.
Mm-hmm.
Any of these movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Wait, did I pick Alligator last month?
You
All
picked
right.
Alligator. 100%.
All right. Well, yeah, today we are talking about 2003's The Italian Job. So,
It was 2003. I'm sorry, not 2002. I forgot.
2003. So, let's talk about our history with The Italian Job. And let's start with Dan, since it was his pick. Dan, why did you pick The Italian Job?
I picked this movie because I'm going to pad this out for a second.
Okay.
I picked this movie because I got my hat fixed. I actually had a period in my life where I was a dipshit and dropped out of high school. I did rectify it later in the fact, but I dropped out of high school, as one does in my family. And I used to hang out with my cousin all the time, and we just watched movies. This was my period in my life where I just watched movies. Road to Perdition, fucking you name it. We just watched shit. High Plains Drifter, whatever. And this was one that came up we watched. And I just really remember enjoying this. And I know we'll get to this when we talk about it, but it is strongly a product of its time. But I just enjoyed it. And I remember several years back, maybe it was during a Walmart run, Black Friday, I remember seeing, it's like, oh, fucking Italian Job. I loved this movie. Like growing up, watching it with my cousin, or like when when I was a teenager, and we watched it a few years ago. She don't recall, but it's fine. I don't remember shit anyway. But yeah, we watched it and then we came back and watched it. It's not one I've seen a lot, but I've always enjoyed. I've always enjoyed watching it. Good strong cast. It's entertaining. Awesome car related stuff at the end. So good stuff.
Absolutely. Angela, what is your history with the Italian Job?
He tells me that I've watched it, but I think my brain kind of purged that memory to make room for new thoughts, memories, because I don't remember watching it. So
All right.
that's all I got.
As for me, this again was another movie that I watched a crap ton as a kid. Me and my brother used to watch this all the time, along with like Gone in 60 Seconds, along with a lot of those early 2000s like heist movies, or movies that are very related to each other. Also, did not realize until probably 5 or so years ago that didn't know this was a remake.
Hey,
Just like Gone in 60 Seconds, never knew that this was a remake. And I don't know how I didn't know it wasn't a remake, because the original has Michael Caine in it. Like he's the lead guy. He's Charlie Croker, which is wild. But yeah, I was just a naive child who didn't like watching movies from probably before 1975, because of course it has to be Jaws. That's like the oldest you could go. And I was
it
like,
has to be.
there's nothing before it. Maybe Psycho. That was like it. That was
There you go. Okay.
No, actually, I did watch a lot of old stuff when I was a kid. I just never knew this was the original was there, and still to this day have never seen the night. I think it was 1968 original, which I definitely need to rectify that at some point in my life.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like I hadn't seen it, but like whenever we'd watch this at my uncle's, there was always like relatives around or something, whenever it got brought up. So somebody that was older than us always knew about the original. Like that's why I just like, oh, it's the old one with Michael Caine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't remember not knowing this wasn't a remake, because somebody always knew in my family. Like I said, nothing better to do than watch movies, I suppose. But
The wildest thing about this movie, though, is that the writers never saw the original before writing this movie.
really,
They ended up watching it at least one or two times in kind of during the process, but they kind of wrote it as its own entity. And also the fact is that in the movie they talk about the original movie. Like not in
did I miss
detail,
that?
but they literally state in one of the scenes when they're about to do the final job, it's like, we're going to do this job like the Italian Job. And I don't know if they're talking about the job that they do at the beginning of the movie, or if they're talking about the movie, The Italian Job, which is
I
weird.
thought they were just talking about the job at the beginning, but I guess you could take it either way.
I guess you could go either way. I guess you could, that does make sense, since the movie does start with an Italian job.
Yep.
But it's weird. I mean, it also stems to the fact that Mark Wahlberg's character's name is the same name as Michael Caine's in the original, so I don't know. And I guess Stella Bridger, I guess the name Bridger was also a name from the original. It's not Stella or the father's name, but I guess Bridger was a name from then. I don't know. But they also use the same cars, so that's pretty cool.
Yes, they did. I wonder if they just cycled it. Like they had character names, and like whenever they read it, like, oh shit, we should probably use a name or two, like reference to the original here and there. So then they just went back and changed the names.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But I
don't know either.
definitely have to go back and watch the original, because it's got Michael Caine.
Same.
It can't go wrong. As for this movie came out, scroll down, May 11th, 2003 at the Tribeca Film Festival, and May 30th, 2003 in the rest of the world. It ran at 111 minutes, which is a good enough runtime. I think it could have been a little bit shorter, but
yeah,
it was fine. Had a budget of $60 million and made $176.1 million at the box office, which that's pretty good. Pretty good for a movie of this firepower when it comes to the cast. It was directed by F. Gary Gray. Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah.
He has directed such great films as The Original Friday from 1995. He
Fuck
directed
yes.
The Negotiator, which is a really good movie with a guy who's been canceled in Hollywood, and Samuel L. Jackson. He directed Law
Did he
Abiding
not
Citizen.
say?
It's Kevin Spacey.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Law Abiding Citizen. I really like that movie. He did Straight Outta Compton, and he directed Fate of the Furious, which was the 9th, 8th, whatever fucking entry of the Fast and the Furious franchise.
I don't know. Just give me a number. I don't need a damn name for it. Like, it's ridiculous. Anyway,
Yeah, it's out of control. We need to stop him. Stop with these Fast and the Furious movies, damn it. Oh, he directed Men in Black International. Let's forget you even did that movie, buddy. Let's just forget about it. I will forgive you, maybe.
I forgot about it till you said something. Shit.
Oh, he also directed a movie that I went and saw, but I don't actually remember watching the movie because I think it was really bad. But the sequel, do you remember the movie Get Shorty?
I remember hearing about it.
John Travolta. It was like a Hollywood gangster movie. John Travolta, Rene Russo. Yeah, he directed the sequel that was not good, called Be Cool. I remember seeing that in theaters, but don't remember a damn thing about the movie because I don't think I watched it. But yeah, that's the history of our director. The cast stacked for 2003. You have Marky Mark. The very first time that Marky Mark has made an appearance on the Core podcast. We haven't talked about him since we did our fresh cuts on Uncharted back in 2022, where the amazing Dissect That Film meme of, does Mark Wahlberg know how to read?
No. Fuck no.
So now it's pretty much, we just have to talk about the fact of every time we cover a Mark Wahlberg movie, we have to figure out, does he read in this movie? Does it look like he knows how to read in this movie?
Everybody tells him what's going on. He does not read shit in this movie. I'm telling you. Listen, hold on. We need it. This is not at least for me, this is not a personal shot at Mark Wahlberg. This is just a meme that I'm going to run into the ground. Like, I have nothing against the guy. I'm sure he's fine.
Oh,
no.
I mean, it's a joke, people. It's a bit that's just never going to die for the show.
Well, in case people are wondering, because like they might go on Patreon, like, oh, the Mark Wahlberg book club. What does this mean? Maybe they didn't watch the Uncharted thing. And they just like heard
I would recommend it. Even if you don't like that movie, please listen to that. It's so good. Along with Marky Mark, we have Charlize Theron. We have Edward Norton, Seth Green, Jason Statham, Mos Def, who kind of disappeared. I don't remember the last time I saw him in a movie. He was in this, and then he was in a movie with Bruce Willis called like 28 Blocks, which was like Bruce Willis had to like transport him 28 blocks to like a safe house, and there was like gang shit going on, and it was an interesting movie I remember watching a long time ago. And Donald Sutherland.
Yes.
God, I love Donald Sutherland.
I'm trying to think of a movie I remember him from other than that scene. Like, I've not seen that whole movie. I've only seen snippets of the remake.
I mean, he's been in so many things. I mean,
I'm just trying to think of like the one movie I remember. It's probably this and Virus.
There was definitely this. I do remember him being in this from a long time ago. Let's see. Let's look at his filmography here real quick, which is huge. He was in the Hunger Games movies. I remember him from those.
Yeah.
I mean, those are more recent. If you want to talk about like his older stuff, he was in the original. He was in Animal House the same year he did Invasion of the Body Snatchers. He was in JFK. Backdraft. I love Backdraft. Outbreak. 1995 Outbreak. That was a great movie. Do you remember Space Cowboys with Clint Eastwood? It was a bunch of like older guys that were like, they were former astronauts, but they're like advanced in age, and then they were being sent to do a mission. It was Clint Eastwood, it was Tommy Lee Jones, Donald Sutherland, and I can't remember who the final guy was, but yeah, that was fun.
What was the plot? Like, let's see what
I mean, I'll share it.
Osteoporosis does in space.
Oh Lord! So the Wikipedia's description is James Garner was the fourth guy. They were 4 aging former test pilots who are sent into space to repair an old Soviet satellite.
All right.
That's that's your basic
Okay.
your basic breakdown. I just remember
That's
my
fine.
grandma had the
You answered,
VHS
I
for this movie. I think I've watched it maybe once or twice. Yeah, that's
Okay.
about it.
I
yeah,
remember advertisements for it now that you mention it, but I've never seen this movie.
it's something. Also, there was a Backdraft 2. Excuse me, that came out in 2019, and he came back
What?
with
Backdraft 2, The Burning?
with Billy
The Reburning.
Baldwin. What?
That's new.
What? My brain just broke. Just saw that. I was
Dude.
like, that can't be real.
I'm gonna say something about Backdraft real quick. I've never seen that movie.
Oh, that movie's so good.
Hold on. Do you know what I remember about that movie?
That you've never seen?
Yes. Do you know what I remember about that movie that I haven't seen? Because remember when it came out? That my mom watched it.
How hot it was?
I don't know what time of year did it come out. I didn't watch the fucking movie.
Fire.
No, I thought you were talking about like it was summer. It was hot.
No,
That was May 24th.
Anyway. Yeah, it's probably warm. Anyway,
it's winter. And
I
it's
very
hot.
distinctly remember. Do you ever get those little bits of information your parents may or may not told you that they told you on a whim and you just remembered for the rest of your life? Mine was, if there's ever a fire, don't open the door if it's hot.
Yeah.
Like if the hot door is hot, don't open it. I don't know why. Like it was that moment. Like from my mom watched that movie, and I may have walked through while she was watching it. She just like came up and told me when I was like, I just remember being a really little kid. And I just stuck.
Don't grab the door handle.
Yeah, because you burn your hand. I don't know why.
I mean, that movie definitely put that in my head. But then, as somebody who has watched The Office way too many times, there's an episode where at the beginning, Dwight he's like the safety coordinator for The Office, and he's doing a test. But instead of doing just like pulling the fire alarm and seeing how people react, he actually sets a fire in the office, and he uses like a hand torch to like heat up some of the handles around the office, so there's smoke coming, and then he goes to one of the doors. He's like, "Oh, make sure you touch the handle, and if it's hot, don't touch it, or don't try to open it." And Michael, who's the manager of the office, he goes up to the door. He's like, "What do you do if it's warm?" And it's just absolute chaos. It's like
it sounds
wild
like it.
shit.
That's
It's a great episode. But yeah, the original Backdraft, Ron Howard was the director. Kurt Russell, Billy Baldwin, Scott Glenn, Rebecca De Mornay, Donald Sutherland, and Robert De Niro. Like,
damn,
excellent cast. And the fact that they made a sequel and 2 of the main characters came back, it's like, okay. It was a direct-to-video. I don't think it went into theater. Yeah, it was direct-to-video in 2019. So, okay. There we go. There it is. We talked about Backdraft in our Italian Job episode. Yeah. So, yeah, Mark Wahlberg, he plays Charlie Croker, who is kind of the leader of the group. No. Charlize Theron, she plays Stella Bridger.
Dear, are you good?
Yep.
I killed her. I'm sorry.
Spit it all out.
Edward Norton plays Steve. Donald Sutherland, Greasy Steve. Seriously, that should have been his name. That should have been the nickname. Everyone had nicknames. That should have been Steve's nickname. Greasy Steve.
Yep. You tell him, Steve, Dave. Don't stop. Don't stop. Damn it. I told you to stop calling me. Hey, fuck you, fanboy. Anyway, mall rats. Sorry.
I called him Steve Dave the whole movie.
Steve Dave.
Oh, man. Jason Statham as Handsome Rob. Seth Green as Lyle, or the Napster.
Yeah.
Why do you call him Handsome Rob? Because he is Handsome Rob.
Mos Def is Left Ear. Frankie G is Wrench, who is the guy who kind of joins the group later on in the movie.
Yeah.
Borlis. Jesus, read the words on the screen. Boris Lee Krutonog as Yevon, and Alexander Krupa as Mashkov.
Don't fuck with Mashkov, dude.
Your basis of your cast there. Words are hard. Jesus. So of course this movie was based on the 1968 Gone in 60. I'm Jesus Christ. This movie was based on the 1969 The Italian Job, which starred Michael Caine. There was an original remake that was kind of a beat for beat remake, like you would kind of get with most remakes. It was rejected by Paramount. They hired Donna and Wayne Powers to write a remake, but they had never seen the movie before, the original, and they wrote a script kind of creating their own world, just kind of incorporating names and ideas into the core film.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm cool with remakes like that, where it's like I don't need a Psycho 1998, where it's literally it's a shot for shot remake. There's literally no difference between the original and the remake. Like, give me, if it's by name, sure, whatever, I don't care. And yes, it's got the cars, it's got some of the names, but it's got its own little thing going. Boy, so all the actors did most of their own stunts in this movie, which is pretty cool.
That's dope.
Charlize Theron was quoted as being the best driver of the group. Also, I guess she had longer training sessions than the guys. I guess she took offense to that because I guess it was the whole thing of like, because she's a woman, might take longer for her to figure it out. But then, yes, there it is. There's the word we were looking for.
It's maybe maybe she's just naturally a better driver. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, exactly.
Just let the lady drive.
It's dumb.
Wow.
Whatever, it's affected everybody. This shit's contagious.
Those videos that I watch of crappy drivers, getting into wrecks. You know how many comments underneath it? It's probably a woman.
Well, yeah, of course they're gonna say that. Dudes always say that shit.
Shut up. Yep. Some of us know how to drive.
Well, they are. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Just go. I'm not going to say that comment.
Some of the other facts I want to mention, we'll talk about during the plot breakdown because it kind of is incorporated with this certain scenes. So,
yes,
I'm gonna just stop saying behind the scenes stuff because there's a lot of interesting things to talk about with this movie when it comes to behind the scenes. But instead of me talking about it, I'm gonna recommend an awesome podcast episode from one of our friends, M from Verbal Diorama, who will be on the show later on in the season. She just released an episode, probably when this comes out, it's been a while, but she released an episode talking about the original 1969 Italian Job and the 2003 Italian Job. Her show is literally behind the scenes facts about movies. So if you want to know the ins and outs of this movie, I definitely recommend that episode. I recommend her show. It's fantastic. Verbal Diorama, check it out. And then we're gonna share what I've read in the last couple hours, because that's how much research I do. But our thing is dissecting the plots of movies, right, Dan? Right, Angela?
And spousal abuse.
Yes.
I saw nothing.
We were fixing the monitors.
Too far.
That's the only thing that was being adjusted
here.
Just the monitor. I want to ask you a quick question about this film, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
And was there any cocaine involved behind the scenes?
Not that I know of. This was
a
pretty. I feel like it was a clean set. The only other thing I do want to mention is the fact that Edward Norton didn't want to be in this movie.
Shocker.
He was contractually obligated to be in this movie. He had a 3-picture deal with Paramount. He tried to get out of his deal. He was going to get sued by Paramount, or they were going to go after him for a lot of money because he was going to try to break his contract. And I guess for 5 years, they were trying to determine, because he only needed to do one more movie for them. And they went on for 5 years trying to figure out a movie to put him in. And he finally was asked to be in the Italian Job, and he took it. And you kind of can tell in this movie that he is just fucking fed up with whatever the hell is happening. And I guess it's good in a way because he plays such a good slime ball in this movie.
Yeah.
But there are moments where you're like, he just hates. I feel like he's not having a good time.
Do you know what the other 2 movies were? If you don't know, don't worry about it.
I don't.
Okay, cool. I was curious.
I mean, I could look. Let me see what he was doing around that time. Well, I have to go back to the last 5 years. I don't remember what studio each movie was.
That's true. Because never mind. That might be a little more difficult.
I'm just trying to remember what he was doing back in those days. I mean, let's see. Was Fight Club Paramount? Nope, that was Fox. We're just gonna go through all of his movies right now. No, we're not. He did things.
I know what it is.
Oh yeah,
I figured it out. A little bit Googling. It was uh, Primal Fear in 1996,
Okay.
and The Score in 2001.
Okay. I've never seen Primal Fear. That was one of his first movies, I think.
I think
And
so.
The Score, that's with Robert De Niro, right? Is it him and De
Sure.
Niro? I think. Yeah.
I really
That's
don't
a great movie. Which is funny because he plays a safecracker in that movie.
No, of course. Of course.
All right. If you guys are ready, I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's dissect
Dissect
that
film.
film. Woo! So this movie starts in. Where does this movie take place in the beginning?
Venice.
It's in the title of the movie, guys. Italy.
It's the Venice job.
The
hand job.
Whoa.
The
okay,
Italian
well,
job.
okay. This movie starts in Venice, Italy. We see Mark Wahlberg, I think, attempting to read a map. He's reading,
He's
writing
reading something.
I don't think he's
No.
reading. I think he's just drawing out a map. He's
Just look at the pictures. He ain't doing shit. Right. Listen, people are feeding him information through his earpiece. They ain't none of that happen. I pay someone to read for me, damn it.
Oh god.
He's listening to the audio version.
He bought out Hooked on Phonics and closed the fucking company down. My golly, there'll be more illiterates in this world.
So yeah, it's this is our titular Italian job. This is it, guys. This is what we're gonna get. So we meet Donald Sutherland's character. What the hell is his name? John Bridger, and he is on the phone with his daughter, and he tells her, "Hey, I got a present coming for you. It's sparkly." And she's the first thing she goes is, "Did you buy it at least?" Does it? Oh no, she goes, "Does it have a receipt?"
Yeah, that's a good question.
It is a great question, especially when you know the history of this man. So I love where she's like, so does your parole officer know about this? Is he cool with it? He's like, you told me to try to get close with him and try to have a good relationship with him, but I was past that time and I had to move on. And I was like, I don't think that's how parole officers work.
It's like a relationship.
I'm breaking up with you now.
Yeah, pretty much.
By text.
And she's like, well, is this the last job? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, but what happens when you go back? You're going to go to prison again because you broke your parole. I don't think you're playing this out, old man. And you find out that Charlie, played by Mark Wahlberg, he is now the new leader because John was the leader before, but Charlie kind of pulled him back into it for this one final job. So he is in command now.
Yeah, he was 6 months, or he was 3 weeks from retirement.
No, I think he was retired and he pulled him out the retirement.
No, I just want to do the stupid police cliche. I was going to retire this year.
I was 2 days from retirement. I'm like, fuck you, you were.
No shit.
Stop trying to make this dramatic. We then meet the rest of the crew. We have Handsome Rob, played by Jason Statham. We have Seth Green's character. What the hell is his name? Lyle Crocodile. We have Mos Def, or Left Ear, and Sleazy, Slimy Steve, played by Edward Norton.
Yep.
And this is when, they're kind of talking about it. They're like doing this plan where Steve's up in one room, kind of planning something out. They're in like a boat, like a garage, where they're going to be ending up painting like a block. And then it ends up, they blow it up, and that's how the safe is going to fall into their boat. And that's kind of the whole plan. And Steve, of course, he's, snarky, sarcastic, he's like, oh, you don't trust me, John? And he's like, oh, I trust everyone, just not the devil inside of them.
Yep.
That quote might come back later. Just a little bit. And I mean, literally my next note is foreshadowing.
Yes.
And you get this crazy paint job that they got to do to they paint out the blocks, which will then explode. And the safe falls into a boat. You see Jason Statham and Seth Green kind of drive away in one boat. They're getting chased by the guards that were upstairs where the safe was. They're getting chased by the police. Jason Statham is the best boat driver I've ever seen in my life. This dude is taking corners like it's nobody. No, he doesn't use the steering wheel. He's using like the ball. There's like a ball on the steering wheel that he's using.
Yeah,
It's like
right.
better. It's like a fork truck, Fork trucks have those steering wheels. And so you find out he's the decoy. Like what he has isn't the real safe. The safe is actually under the water in the boat garage. And Charlie, John, and Left Ear are down there trying to crack it open. You get the whole thing. You always get that tense moment where John's whole thing is he does it by touch. He cracks safes by touch, but it's taking a little longer. Everybody's kind of like looking at their watches and stuff like, oh, is he going to get it? Oh no.
Work your magic.
Right? And I'm like, there's no way. 4 minutes? They opened that safe and there's a shit ton of gold bricks and they literally like, oh, we got 4 minutes to pack this up and go. And I was like, no way. No way. But you got to have the tense moment where the police boat comes in. They see the whole like, oh no. And then down below, they got the cool contraption, like the little underwater vehicle that like slowly.
Like a submersible.
I was like, I think those make bubbles, guys. I think those make a lot of bubbles, and it's gonna make you're gonna get a little bit of a trail because the water
cavitation.
What?
It causes cavitation under the water. That's why it makes air pockets that float up.
Yeah,
propellers too.
I just assumed they were pushing like sleds. That they were pushing them.
No, I think they had propellers on the side. It was like it kind of looked like a fan, just kind of propelling them.
Just desk fans. Is that waterproof? Fuck, I don't know.
But I mean, the waters
later
in Venice, I don't think are very deep. At least from what you see here, it's not that deep. So you're definitely getting a trail of bubbles or some sort of wake that's going to follow.
I don't think they're very clear either.
I don't think they were clear in the movie. I think it's the whole point of them looking down into the water and they don't see anything.
Oh, like when they're underwater, it's like obviously they do it for the show. It's like clear. It's like I don't know about that, but sure.
Yeah, whatever. We'll go with it. So we get the epic boat chase. I love this boat chase. It's really good. All practical, which is my favorite. I love these practical stunt work. And you get the crazy things where he takes a corner, they take a corner, and then they had like garbage men who are like had these decoy boats that are just like they go one way and then they open up and the other boat goes up on a ramp.
And they get like dry docked.
And they're just like, damn you,
curses,
damn you, come back. So rah Charlie, the job is well done. Everybody's cracking champagne or whatever the hell they're drinking up on the mountain, the snowiest mountains ever. Like, damn, where are they now? Like, how far did they drive outside of Venice? I don't know. I don't think it snows in Venice. Like, where did they go?
That's what Ridley was watching this with us. He brought it up. I was like, what's winter like there? I was like, I don't fucking know. Nobody ever talks about winter in Venice. I have no clue.
Oh, it says.
Well, what mountain?
I guess they were driving towards Austria. But it's okay, whatever.
Well, depending on what way they had to go. Wait a minute. This is because they're going further north into Austria, which always blows my mind as an American because I was talking to my buddy and he was talking about, hey, dude, I was going to go to Disney World this year. And I was like, oh, cool. Like Florida. He's like, yeah, we were going to go there because I don't know how many Disney Worlds there are. I know there's like more than one Disneyland, but I don't fucking know. And he's like, but we're just going to go to Disneyland France. He's like, it's not that far. It's like 3 hours. And I'm like, God, Europe's really fucking close together.
Right?
Because he's in the UK and he's just going to take the tunnel and drive over to France. I was like, it's just 3 hours, dude. It's like 3 hours for us to go to Georgia.
It's 3 hours to get to Boston, and that's just in the same fucking state.
Dude, I know. Well, it's the same if we went to Nashville. It's like 3.5 hours. So and that's not even all the way on the other side.
It just shows how big the United States is comparatively.
I know, but that's what our perspective. So it probably doesn't take them that long to get there. It probably took them like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah,
just to drive over there. That long in comparison, I guess.
That's wild. So yeah, they're discussing their plans of what they're going to use the money for or on, I guess. Handsome Rob talks about buying an Aston Martin. And he's just going to drive and get the ladies because that's his
drive
thing.
And fuck bitches, dude. That's all he's going to do.
Pretty much. That's pretty much what he's going to do. Lyle, I keep forgetting his name. Lyle's going to buy a stereo that can blow women's clothes off. And I went, I feel like that's a problem. Not for
That
the
would
fact
kill
that
you.
it's just like, yeah, exactly. When we get to the scene at the end, we have loads to talk about just on that one shot where you're like,
It's at least gonna bust your eardrums.
listen, my wife was sitting right next to me when I was watching this movie, and we're just like, what? It's not even
Yeah,
the
I'm
sheer
glad. I
fact that
cannot-
it's like, really, you're gonna buy a stereo that blows people's clothes off? Like, Jesus Christ, this movie is 2003 written all over it.
I could not wait until the verdict of Parker's wife at the end. It's gonna be really exciting. I always look forward to that.
The scene that's coming up, she had a comment.
Awesome.
And Left Ear wants to get a house in Spain. He's gonna get a room with like first edition books and all of his shoes. And I'm like, that actually sounds like a pretty sweet fucking life. Like I would
Sounds
probably
reasonable.
sign me up for that. I don't know if I want to be reading all the time, but like give me a nice like old like country house in another country, France, Spain, one of those countries. I'll live in anywhere. Austria, I'll live in any of those countries. And no one else there, just me.
There you go.
I live in Norway.
Norway.
Oh, yeah. Norway's good. That's a good one too. So yeah, I love the use of the song "Money."
Yes.
It's not the original. It's done twice, and I don't think either of them is the original version.
I know
love
for sure
that.
the second one isn't.
I love that song.
It's a good song.
Who's the original singer? Is it the Who? No, it's Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd, yeah.
So yeah, they're driving across a snowy bridge. You got two vehicles pit them in, and you find out. And Steve doesn't even make it fucking subtle that he is betraying them. He is like, as soon as those trucks stop, he turns his gun on Handsome Rob, and yeah, that's when all hell breaks loose. He doesn't even think twice before shooting John.
Just empties into him, dude.
I always
you didn't
remember
say the magic word.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember as a kid or whenever, watching this for the first time or watching this all the times I did growing up, is I thought he shot him once. I just thought he shot him once and he was dead. No, he unloads into him before Handsome Rob decides to drive the van into the icy cold waters of wherever the hell they're at. And then
Cold Lake.
And then Steve doesn't stop there. He grabs another gun, an automatic gun, and just starts raining hell into this water. And not just one clip. He takes another clip and goes hell. I'm like, bro, they're gonna die of hypothermia. What the fuck are you doing? Like,
at least,
yeah.
At least he's attempting to be thorough.
I guess.
It's not just like, yeah, they're dead. This is fine. No, he's just like,
no
but
expression
the
on his
bullets
face
would
all
not
the
go
time.
that far.
No, they wouldn't.
Not like that.
Well, yeah, it's deep enough to swallow the van, but I mean, it's like the other side of a dam. It's got to be,
yeah, I don't know,
deep enough, I would assume.
But kind of their way of ending it is John's body floats up to the top, which kind of gives them like, well, they must be all dead. And then we get no, go ahead, Dan, before we get to this.
Well, they keep themselves alive because they used oxygen tanks. They had scuba gear with them, and they passed the breather around.
That's right. Yeah. But that's not. Yeah, I mean, okay, that makes sense. But also,
the cold.
It's really cold. It had ice over the water. Like there was ice. I'm sorry.
Anyway, you were gonna say?
No, the scene where it shows Charlie and the gang, and Charlie has John's body. Why am I laughing at this? It's not that funny, but it is funny because Mark Wahlberg's crying face is so funny because he is forcing it so hard. My wife's like, wow, that's plus acting right there. Like, what is he doing? I was like, I think he's crying.
He's trying to force them tears out. And
She's just like, what is he doing with his face?
He's either taking a shit or he's cold or both. I don't know.
He's constipated.
It's so good.
He needs to poop.
He's crying over frozen vegetables.
Hey, Mr. Leaf. Hey, Mr. Leaf. Don't kill us, Mr. Leaf. Fucking happening. Fuck that movie. Said throw it in there.
Can't wait
One
till we
day
talk about
we're going to talk about. We're going to have a month where we just pick movies that we utterly despise. We have to. We know Dan's pick. 1994 is The Mask.
I don't want that month to come. Please. Please don't.
September. I got an idea for September. We don't have
You
Yay.
can't, dude. I'm busy September.
No, you're
all
not.
of it. Just all of September.
You wake me up when September ends.
That
You're
song
so-
sucks, dude.
You don't
You're just
have
gonna
you
skip the
don't
whole
have to,
month.
listen, Dan, you don't have to pick that one. You could pick another one you dislike.
I'm sure there's plenty.
Oh man, 2020. I
Probably.
didn't think 2024 I'd be talking about potentially talking about The Happening in full.
No, hold on. Wait a minute. Didn't The Mask come out in 1994?
It did.
I'm not picking it. It's gonna be, no, fuck it. It's a big
He's like-
anniversary.
he's
to
like,
hell with it.
Fuck you and your big anniversaries, Parker. You
Yep.
son of a bitch. You're not getting me this time.
I'm gonna throw an extremely tiny wrench into these plans. Ah!
Oh man. So it is 1 year later. We're in Philadelphia. We meet Stella, and she's really good at cracking safes. And you're like, ooh, is she breaking into a safe to steal something? No, she does it for the police. I guess if there's a house where a crime happened, they have her come in to crack safes so they can figure out what's inside. They hold the whole thing. Oh, don't you want to see what's inside? She's like, I never look and see what's inside. You could have just said never and then walked away, but you had to say that whole thing. And it's like, okay.
Nope. Send me a check.
We got,
I'm out.
pretty much.
I tell you, her expedited nature to leave a job site after her job is finished is exactly how I am at work. Like, if there's nothing else to do and we're done, I'm fucking leaving. Like, I'm out.
I feel you. So I love her car. I love the classic Cooper, which
so
I don't know what
fucking
year this one is. Supposedly it is a 69. It's supposed to be
Nice.
one of the ones from the original, or the same model as one of the ones from the original.
Well,
I
they
don't know
ran
that
that
for sure,
body.
but-
They ran that body, to my knowledge, for a really long time because, oh shit, hold on, because we always call them Mini Coopers.
Yeah.
But they were Austin Minis before that. It was a
Mhm.
different company had them. So they were, and there's probably another one before that. But like they built those for a long ass time. So it's cool to see it though. I love it. They're tiny, especially the old ones. Like the newer ones are still small, but they ain't as small as the old ones.
They're still
And
cool
this
looking.
kind of,
Still cool.
yeah, they're neat. And I love little cars. And Ridley, I don't know how long he'll hang on to this, but he really liked the Mini Cooper in this movie. All
they're
of them.
cool.
He thought
They're
they were
cool.
fucking sweet. I was like, yes, dude. Like, I'm not a big Cooper guy. Like, I'm not like a fan, but I respect them, and they're neat cars.
She gets a visit from Charlie, who pretty much wants her to come to a job because they found where Steve's at. He moved.
He's got the golden ticket.
Yeah, he
We need
changed.
to get it back.
I gotta go. Shut up.
Wait a minute.
Shut up, Grandpa Joe, you piece of shit.
What if this?
Charlie.
That's what I said. He's got. Hold, dude. This is just a retelling of like getting into the factory, but like, Uncle Joe is John, and he got killed. And
But at least John was useful. Grandpa Joe's a piece of shit who sat in his bed
He
for
is a-
20 years. Get
he is a
up,
piece of shit.
Grandpa. Your daughter was
Steve
like
and all that-
10 when you decided to crawl your ass into bed.
Exactly. And this is just them trying to get the golden ticket back.
I
so they
can't
go
wait to talk
Wonka.
about Willy Wonka. God, I feel like we're talking more about movies we can't wait to talk about other than the Italian job.
Okay, anyway, back to the Italian job.
Back
I'm
to the
sorry.
Italian job. Yeah, so they found him in LA, and he has
Pretentious fuck.
the gold
Dude.
that he stole from them is in a safe, and they need her to crack the safe because it's a safe that they're not familiar with, or they just know they can't get into.
A timeout. This timeout movie's unrealistic. I'm out instantly.
Oh,
You know why? Nobody has
movie.
guns in California. Nobody. Nobody has guns in California.
you sure about that?
Yep.
You sure about that?
By certain people's ways of thinking,
Oh, okay.
nobody has guns in California.
okay. Okay.
Anyway, not trying to get all political. It's just carry on. Just a joke. Calm the fuck down.
Oh. So at first she says no because she's trying to erase kind of that past, of
Yeah.
one, she blames Charlie for her dad dying, and I was like, I don't think he foresaw Steve betraying them. Like he had the only thing that I wish we kind of got some knowledge of was like how long Steve worked with them. They
Yeah,
seem
that'd
to
be
all
nice.
have like a really close relationship, and they all seem to have worked together for a long time, and so Steve just finally fed up with the bullshit. Like I don't know, but
Steve feels like that dude that somebody vouched for. Like, no, he's good. He's the new addition to the team. But he wasn't.
yeah, that
Like,
kind of
that's
does
what
make
he
sense.
feels like.
Yeah. But then later on, she goes home. She kind of thinks it over, and she pretty much is like, "Yeah, I'm in. I want to see him with nothing." So we get kind of a backstory of all the crew because, of course, they have a meetup, and she talks about how Lyle says that he created Napster, but his roommate, who was it, Sean Fanning, who was the actual founder of Napster, stole his ideas. And the reason that's called Napster is because he was taking a nap while his plans were stolen. Sean Fanning is actually the guy stealing the fucking floppy disk. It's actually him, the founder of Napster, which at that time I think was already done. It was already not even a thing anymore.
I'm just glad that like tiny blip of like musical theft that happened in our lifetimes was like was important enough that they felt they needed to be like a part of somebody's backstory in a fucking movie.
And his
it's good. I love it.
On.
I love it. I think it's great because I, in fact, use Napster as well to abscond with music.
I just think it's funny that they were able to. They reached out to Sean Fanning, was like, "Do you want to be in this movie? We have a side. We have a a story for one of our characters where he was the original Napster founder, and you stole his ideas. Imagine that." And he's like, "Yeah,
I'd
sure,
say
I'm
yes.
in. I'm
Fuck
in.
yeah, dude. Sign me up. You can give me like." Send me out there to LA or whatever and give me
he was in the movie for like 2 seconds. It was just him reaching over, grabbing a floppy disk, and it's over.
Yeah, dude, I guarantee he made a little bit of money off that.
Absolutely.
Fuck yeah, I would have done it too.
So yeah, that was Lyle's backstory. I love where he comes in. He doesn't know how to. How the fuck did he even get there in the first place? You can barely ride this bike. How was he even how far did he live? Did he ride like that the whole way? Like I don't know.
Probably.
He gets there and the bike tips over. I'm like,
how did he get his license?
I don't know. It kind of annoys me to think about.
He hacked into the system.
He probably did just hacked and printed him out one. That's probably it. No, it's a good idea. I actually didn't think of that.
Yeah. Then we get introduced to Left Ear, who is the reason he's called Left Ear is because he's deaf in his right ear because he set off too many M80s when he was a kid in a bathroom at his school. And so, yeah, that's where he got that nickname. And then we have Handsome Rob, where his nickname is somehow he has some weird pheromone that attracts every fucking woman that he's around. Listen, Jason Statham, I feel, ages like fine wine. I think he actually gets more attractive as he ages. This was the Jason Statham stage where he was holding on for dear life for those final strands of hair. As somebody who has a receding hairline, who is losing hair, I feel you, Jason Statham, but there's no fucking way, man. You must have been putting off some crazy ass pheromone.
No, yeah, this is just, dude, this man, there's no way. Okay, I'm going to make this joke later, but yeah, this is just Jason Statham, just being sexy Jason Statham.
I mean, okay.
Fucking in the middle of a crowded place, and then eventually gets so sexually attractive, he starts attracting prehistoric sharks. And like, I don't know what to do with the guy. We can't take him anywhere.
He just come out of the woodwork.
Oh my God. But yeah, they talk about how he has like the longest freeway chase of like all time. He's driving like super slow when he's doing it too, and there you go. Go ahead.
Oh, he's driving a Yanko Nova.
It's a nice car.
It's a very nice car.
You have all the girls, pining for him. Got signs.
Yeah.
We love you, Rob.
And my baby.
Pretty much. So they make their plan on how they're going to get into Steve's house. I like how they get there. Left Ear's pretty much talking about how it's not going to be that bad. Getting to the guards and getting by the gate. But then the dogs show up, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, I don't do dogs. I don't do dogs."
Yes.
You find out Steve is selling the gold bricks a little bit at a time. He goes to one of his dealers. He's a Ukrainian guy who owns like a pawn shop to try to sell
Yevon or
bricks.
something like that. I can't think of.
And every time he goes to visit Yevon's got to talk about the negatives of the world and all the corruption of the of our country. And I'm like, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
He's got a thing for the ladies printed on the bricks.
Yes, which is his ultimate downfall later on in the movie.
Yeah, there's for people, we should point it out. It shows it earlier. There's a design. I can't remember. It's the design of some female actually etched into the gold bricks. All these gold bricks.
It's like a Bavarian dancer, I think was what they say. Yeah. And he goes there. He's supposed to be selling 3 or 4 bricks, but he only can buy 2 of them. That means that Steve's got to come back later on to sell the other 2 because he does say he wants to buy them. So they're trying to figure out a way to get into Steve's place to kind of figure out the layout of the house, to kind of figure out how they're going to do the job. And so they decide, we're going to fuck with this cable. We're going to call the cable company, and then Stella's going to disguise herself as a repair person because she's the only one he doesn't know, because he thinks they're all dead. So this is when you get the really funny scene of Jason Statham and Seth Green sitting in the garage, the car garage there, and they're seeing all the cable people like getting into their vans, and and Rob goes to talk to the girl, and Seth Green's commentary the whole time. Hello, I'm sexy Rob.
I love it, dude. It's so good.
It's so great. It's possibly one of the best parts of this movie. It's just him.
It is definitely
making shit up, doing this entire commentary of that conversation. It's fantastic.
He does a good impression too.
It's fantastic.
Voice work, so.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, my name's Becky. You're not too bright, are you, Becky? No, I'm not.
Wonderful. I'm gonna need your van. I'm gonna need your shit and your van.
Oh man,
so good.
So they cut the cable. Of course, this is 2003, so it's like a weird setup. He paid like $30,000 for this setup. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, fucking hose, dude.
It was like gold-plated line that they ran.
And for somebody who watches The Office, the guard is one of the main cast members of The Office.
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh shit. And this was like 2 years before The Office even started. So Stella's prepped. She gets pinned. This pinning scene is just annoying. I'm like, did we need this? You got Lyle trying to put on the pin. He pokes her, and he's like, oh, I couldn't even put the corsage on my prom date. And then of course you have Charlie like, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna do great. And he's like, all right,
just gonna mess with your boob.
I'm just gonna pat it real quick. Like, what is happening right now? Mark Wahlberg, you are awful. You are terrible at being seductive or sexy. I don't know if that's not what your point was here, but it's really weird. Please stop making me uncomfortable.
What was that laugh? I asked myself. I'm trying to recreate that as much as possible. I don't think I've ever laughed like that in my life. That was new. What is that? This is my new laugh for 2024. New year, new laugh.
We have a spanking new podcast for your ear holes called Doom Generation.
Available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Later, Doomers.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Flicks and Friends podcast. I'm Dustin.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Sean. Join us each week as we sift through movies and discuss a variety of theme months and determine whether they're blockbusters or blockbusted.
Previous themes include Animation Month, 80s horror, and under 10% on Rotten Tomatoes, just to name a few. We have weekly guests, fan favorites, and new guests happen all the time over here. So buckle up and enjoy the ride.
But until next time, I'm still Dustin.
And I'm still Paul.
And I'm Sean.
And this is the Flicks and Friends podcast.
So Stella goes to the house, and the dogs attack the van, of course, and Steve comes out to get the dogs away, and then it's kind of this weird, like, awkward situation where, like, she hesitates getting out of the car. He's just really awkward, like, just being weird the whole time. And I love that he like takes her through the house and like tells her all the different things. I love where She's like, yeah, my thing is TVs, because he's like explaining his house, and she's like, I don't really think listening or thinking about people taking rocks from one place to another is too fascinating.
Yes.
Like, well, what fascinates you? TVs. Well, I got a big TV. Then he walks into the room like, that was a big TV in 2003, because my TV is significantly bigger than that one.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Oh, 2003. And he's telling her about the modem and the cable box and all that stuff, but she just wanders to the closet and just opens it up in
Yeah.
front of him. I'm like, don't be subtle or anything. Like, clearly
I
that's
know,
probably
right?
where it is, right? She's like, is there anything in this room? And it's like, fuck, if that was me and a cable guy was just starting opening doors in my house, I'm like, hello? Excuse me?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
The fuck?
You don't belong in there, sir.
Mm-mm.
Or ma'am.
So she, they work the whole thing out where she pretends like she's fixing stuff, but left ear ends up hooking the cable back. Everything's working again. And then Creepy Steve asks her on a date. But at first she's like, I don't do that. I don't, go on dates with customers, people that I've only known for 3 seconds. And then he has to get really weird and awkward, and she decides she's gonna. But she only says yes because she knows she's not actually going to go on the date. At least that was the initial plan. So, yeah. And I do like her. The thing that's great about Charlize Theron is she's a fantastic actress, and she is very good at portraying like this deep emotion, especially like she's facing her father's killer, and she is like petrified. She's like sitting there holding the steering wheel in park as Charlie comes up and asks her how she is, and she's like, he touched my hand. Like, just that is like, she's just mortified at and also the idea of possibly going on a date with this man. Just disgusting. So this is when Lyle gets his nickname, the Napster. Like, he won't answer to anything unless he's being called the Napster. I'm like, why did we need that? Like, we got the backstory that he was the Napster founder, but not really. And like, we didn't need this too.
We don't need more characters. The guy doesn't need any more character development. He's doing his job.
Like, why? We don't need it. I do like, though, that Mark Wahlberg's like, why are you feeding into this? He's like talking to everybody else because they're all calling him the Napster except for Charlie. He's like, what are we doing here?
I do like how it's just a group fucking with people. Like, it's like, let's just do it. Fuck it. Like, I like that part of it.
Oh no,
like,
I love this group. I love I feel like these guys, all of these people are friends. Like, they were really good together. And I think that's the best. I think that's the greatest thing you can get when you're doing an ensemble piece, is the fact of like you making it real,
the chemistry.
Making it the chemistry, and making it like these people could actually be friends.
Yeah. I'm going to point this out. I particularly enjoy Statham and Seth Green together.
Oh, so good.
I like those two a lot.
Seth Green was always fun to watch back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. Like, his role in the Austin Powers movies, some of my favorite.
Yes.
It's so good. So good. Also Scooby-Doo 2. Monsters Unleashed. Yeah, he was in that.
I've never seen it.
He was the guy that Velma falls for. Yeah.
Really?
He's also been the voice of Chris Griffin since 1999, so that's cool.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So they determined that the safe and I guess where they're going to exit the house is too far. Like, it's just a lot of weight, too far of a distance, so they need to come up with a plan. So they decide that they're going to modify some Mini Coopers to drive through his house with the gold bricks. That was their original plan, was to drive through his hallways. I wanted to see that.
Yep. Hey, by the way, I want to point out they had really good timing because these Mini Coopers were brand new around this time. I think they came out in like 01, 02.
Yeah. So, they also did a lot of actual modifying with the modifications of these Mini Coopers because, I mean, in the movie they had to modify them to withstand more weight, and to be able to maintain certain speeds and all that. So they hired this guy named Wrench to come in. Handsome Rob knew him and all that. So he comes in to do some modifications. They only give the guy $10,000 for all these modifications. Like, you're about to steal $34 million worth of gold bricks which initially I think that was the initial number. You're only going to give this guy $10,000. What the fuck, man? That's kind of lowballing in my opinion.
Yeah, I gotta feel like I feel like this group would probably give him more in the end.
Yeah,
but it's
I
just
mean,
kinda
he
like an
does
upfront
officially
deal.
join the group in full before the
Yes,
end.
yeah, because he's like, I'm
heist.
in, dude. These are by the way, unless they had regular ones, they dressed up like it. These are all Cooper S's, so they're all the supercharged models. Just
They
pointing
were
out.
also electric Coopers too, because
Oh, did they have electric ones too?
yes, because when they were driving through the subway, you can't have gas powered vehicles in the subway.
Oh, okay.
So they
That
had to
makes
modify
sense.
them to make them electric to be able to do the scenes down in the subway. which we'll
That
talk
makes
about in a bit.
total sense because there's no ventilation for it, or not enough.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So Lyle has found a way to access the traffic surveillance service, pretty much being able to change the lights from red to green, cause chaos in the streets of LA because, boy, I don't even live over there. I don't live in a place that has traffic like this, but that gave me anxiety. Just like, fuck all of that. They also had to like time how long it was going to take to get from, what was it? I'm trying to remember. Was it Steve's house to the airport or something like that? It was like, I can't remember exactly where they were going or where
No, I don't remember
the distance they were trying to determine. But yeah, the Coopers get modified, and then you get to see the LA River makes another appearance on the show.
Oh,
Everybody as
yeah.
they drive through the river and doing crazy things and like yippee. They look like they're having a good time. Steve goes back to the pawn shop to sell the final 2 bricks. And this is when Yevon makes a mistake of figuring out where the bricks came from.
Yep.
Oopsies.
Mentions Venice.
Yep. And Steve's like, well, can't let you live now. And just, this man never hesitates before killing anybody. He just whips out that gun, shoots a man like 2 or 3 times, and tries to cover his tracks, and he is out of there. So Charlie and Left Ear have to get some supplies because Left Ear is the explosives guy. So he needed certain types of explosives in order to do this final job. So they go to meet Skinny Pete, which you hear his name earlier in the movie, but we finally get to meet him, and he is this massive. I don't know where he's from.
I'm assuming Samoa. He's
Samoan, Pacific Islander. Yeah, he's a big boy.
He's a big boy.
I love this girl. He's putting. She's like a little bit softer, and he's just hitting it the same power every time. And the ball's vroom, vroom. Oh, but yeah, and Charlie's one rule is don't stare at him because he's a bigger guy.
See, here's the okay. This scene is like so stupid and blown out of proportion. I felt this scene was, outside of showing you Skinny Pete, entirely irrelevant. Like, yeah, he's a big dude, but he's not like grotesque or monstrous.
Listen, we're in 2003.
I was like,
okay, this is when this was normal. Okay, this is when they made characters were just like they were a little bit different than you and me. So we're just there was there were probably dozens of movies where it was like, hey, whatever you do, don't stare at this person. Okay, like listen, I am with you. Like, what was? Yeah, he's a big dude, but like, he's still just a guy. Like, what am I looking at right now?
Yeah,
if he was like half man, half fucking a different species of animal, like, then I'd be like, okay, that's probably pretty hard not to stare. But it's just a guy.
Yeah,
I feel like Left Ear is like way shorter than him, so he's like intimidated by him because he's a big man. He's tall.
Yeah, no, I get that, but like Mark Wahlberg's like 5'5". Like that man is probably like,
yeah,
Daddy, pick me up. You just see Skinny Pete pick him up, and he just looks like a toy from Toy Story. Just puts Mark Wahlberg in his pocket.
Yes.
The guy that has the really big hands that picks up the
Coke cans,
the cans, and his hand is like, the can is like this in his hand.
Dude, big hands scare
and then he
the
lets
shit
his
out of
wife pick him up.
People with big ass hands scare the shit out of me. Like that is
this guy has some. The guy I'm talking about has some massive hands.
If somebody could
and he
like
lets his
palm
wife
my
fix the
head,
stuff up. Yeah.
no thanks. No.
Makes him
So
think of the Dick Ripper from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Like, oh God, get away! The cock ripper is like, had to bring it back, baby. Had to bring it back. We talked about Venice. Have to bring it back.
We sure did. We sure did. Oh my God!
I wish Mark Wahlberg was in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
He was Tom Sawyer.
Oh my God!
God damn.
That's right. Tom didn't
Hey
have to read
Sean.
that movie.
Hey Sean Connery. You want to watch me shoot a gun? Can you help me shoot a gun, Sean Connery?
He doesn't even call him Tremaine. He just calls him Sean Connery. The whole movie.
What are you talking about? Shut up! Oh my God. So you find out that one of the guys that worked at the shop with Yevon turned pretty much ratted out Skinny Pete because Skinny Pete was looking for the gold bricks. And so you find out it's Yevon's cousin. He was like a big time Ukrainian mobster. He pays a visit to Skinny Pete.
What's his name?
Mashkov?
Mashkov. Yeah, I think it's Mashkov.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
This was a side plot that didn't need to be in this movie. It was kind of like, all right, I guess it's fine. It doesn't like throw the movie off that much, but if it wasn't in the movie, I don't think it would change anything. Other than maybe the very end.
Yeah, that's probably about it.
But yeah, whatever. But yeah, he goes and visits Skinny Pete. He intimidates him with the axe. He tells him Skinny Pete kind of gives him information that he needs. And the operation is a go. But as they get to, they go to Steve's house to start the operation, and there's a party next door, and it foils their plans. And they gotta come up with a different plan. And also, Stella has to go on her date with Slimy Steve.
That sucks.
Oh yeah, it's
have
gross.
to. She could just stand him up. She chooses to go.
I think it's real just bad. I can't do the date.
I think it's kind of just to keep the plan going in a way.
Yeah.
Try not to pull any suspicions.
She was creepy though.
She was doing great though until she slipped up and said her dad's saying, which is where he says, "Don't you trust me?" And she said, "I trust everyone, just not the devil inside." And he's like, I knew someone who said that, and he was the only person I knew who's ever said that. And then of course he figures out who she is, and he's a fucking ass, man. He is just piece of shit, because he's like,
yep.
You want to know what your dad looked, or what your dad's face was before I shot him? He begged for his life. I'm like, bro, it's fucked up, bro.
Yep.
And then Charlie shows up. The whole gang shows up.
The guys.
The only one who doesn't show up though is Lyle. I was like, I'm good. I'm good.
That's not his scene. Not his scene.
I'm fine. And Charlie and Steve have their own little conversation to the point that Charlie punches him. I thought that was great. I also just want to be like, what the fuck is with this mustache, bro? What is with this facial hair?
That's so shitty, dude.
Come on, man. What is this?
It's glued on.
It looks like it. Fucking scrape some pubes off the floor
He started sweating and it started coming off, so he was like patting it down and it's all crooked.
We then get the scene with Charlie and Stella where they're kind of talking it over. She's like, shaking. She's been through a pretty bad ordeal with Steve, and they get close, and I'm like, do they hook up? And then they don't. I was like, I like that they don't. I like that he is kind of there as support, as a friend. He's not trying to like get in her pants, which I was like, okay, I like the fact that
later.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it's not even like,
give it time.
Hopefully it was mutual.
It'll happen.
So now their new plan is, so Steve is going to be moving the gold from his house to the airport, and he's going to be kind of just, I guess, bringing it to Mexico. So their plan is to hijack the truck that has the gold on it, steal the gold, and then kind of make their own way out of there. Problem is, he hired 3 trucks to drive the route to kind of throw them off. But then they quickly figure out how to determine which truck it is. It doesn't even take more than 30 seconds before we're like, why don't we just determine which truck is hanging lowest? All
Yeah,
right.
it's but that's what they talk about. Steve just not having the eye for all the fine details, where Charlie
Not that
does.
smart.
Huh?
He
Not
really
that
isn't.
smart. He's
Yeah.
SMRT.
His ego gets in the way of logic.
Yep.
Because they easily determine which truck it is. They go after it. You have Steve up on a fucking helicopter. Listen, the helicopter thing, I got a lot to talk about with the helicopter, all right? Because the goddamn who is allowing this in the city of LA?
Nobody.
There'd be police helicopters being like, excuse me, you can't do any of this. You are too low. You can't go underneath the bridges. What is happening right now?
No.
Sir, this is a no-fly zone.
Yeah, what is happening? So they also find out that Mashkoff thinks that Charlie killed Yevon because kind of the way that Skinny Pete told him what was going on with the gold bars, he kind of figured it was Charlie, but Charlie's like, I don't know what the hell is happening right now. But this is also where you get the whole thing where Charlie is like, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to do it just like the Italian Job. And I went, like the movie, The Italian Job, or the Italian Job from the beginning of the movie? I need clarification here because your movie is called The Italian Job. Yes. I'm just going to say they're talking about the job from the beginning of the movie. That's all I'm getting. That's all I'm going to get out.
Yeah, that's when we get our title card. No, I'm just kidding.
It just shows up like an hour and 20 minutes in here. Like, holy shit.
Movie's almost over. Hey.
Yep.
I love it when Left Ear is setting up the explosives in the subway tunnel. And he's like, Charlie's saying that he's like, I'm going to be a minute. And he's like, a minute? What's going on? He's like, if this detonator touches the walls of this explosive, we're the last people that we're ever going to see. He's like, take your time.
Yeah.
That's really good. So they're all set up. They figure out the trucks. Lyle gets into the kind of the light controls for the traffic lights. He's at the airport too, at like a baggage claim. Like, that's a weird place to be. Okay. And he's fucking with the lights, causing accidents. I'm like, man, listen, I understand we're trying to steal a lot of money from people, but are you going to be paying for all those accidents? Are you going to be paying for all those insurance claims? Like, bro, what are we doing? Like, I get it, but he's like, all like, oopsie, sorry about that. Oopsie. I'm like, you suck, man.
Such an idiot.
Jeez. I do love that he leaves a message for like the traffic control people.
Yeah.
Or is like, don't mess with the Napster. I was like, oh my God.
So stupid. He's so hot. Dude, don't get hung up on that shit. Come on, just let it go. Put the dick down.
They are then driving through the subway. This is where they had to use the electric Coopers. I love all of this. The whole thing where they're like racing against the subway car and they just make it out. And then the subway car stops just at the end so that no one else can get through. I was like, oh, man, this is really well done. The fact, though, that these cars, I wonder how many of these cars they went through, because there's a lot of these times where they're going down the stairs and it's just riding the nose down the stairs.
And they'll just have random, there's a few shots of the blue one where there was damage. I'm like, I don't think it got hit there yet. And it's just like in the quarter panels, like dented in a bit. And you're like, oh, okay.
There was a shot where I think it was the train where the subway train hits the back of Handsome Rob's Cooper, the one they're driving, the white one. Yeah.
Or silver. Yeah, whatever.
And the next shot, there's no damage to the back of that car.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, come on, continuity. You showed it get hit by the train.
Yep.
At least show us there's some damage. Who gives a shit if there's some damage? It's still going to drive. Whatever. So they had the whole plan where they get the truck exactly where it needs to be. It's kind of out of sight of Steve up in his helicopter, and pretty much they blow it up. The truck falls down, and then it's Wrench. He's got like signs on this truck, and the sign flops down to cover up the hole where the truck blew up.
Pepsi Blue.
Yes.
Signs. For those of you that remember that drink.
Crystal Pepsi.
I did,
baby.
I remember Crystal Pepsi, and I remember Pepsi Blue.
When they re-released that back in like 2015, I think it was. I used to drink the shit out of those Crystal Pepsis. Hooey.
I don't remember that re-release because I wasn't drinking soda, so I don't recall, or I would have drank it just to have it again. It's like when Ecto Cooler came back out. Oh, I drank some of that shit. It's good.
Stuff.
Oh yeah.
They do another Ghostbusters movie. Bring back Ecto Cooler, please.
What did they do for this past one?
I don't think they really did anything big, did they?
I don't remember. The crazy thing is that last Ghostbuster movie just kind of came and went. I feel like no one talks about it. It's just like,
it's a shame. It wasn't a pretty decent movie. I enjoyed it, but
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it someday.
Eventually. Yeah, we'll cover it.
So, they find out that the safe that's in the back of the truck is a different safe than what she's ever cracked before. This one has like a tempered glass locking mechanism. Pretty much if the glass breaks, it locks the safe to the point they can't get it open. I'm like, well, how does that work? How do you get it open?
You just shit
like
out.
If you're the owner of the safe.
First off, you need to blow it up.
Yeah.
No.
And you get the whole tense moment where she goes in there, she drills in, you hear it crack. She's like, I cracked the glass. And you're like, oh shit. And she's like, I don't think it broke all the way. He's like, okay. So she's like, I can't do it with tools. I got to do it by touch. And I'm like, ooh, got to go back old school like her daddy. Got to do it old school like her daddy. And she does it with hesitation and nerves. She finally does it. She gets it open.
Do this.
And it's all the gold in there. And I was like, this is where I laughed my ass off, because they have this like slide that they throw the gold bars on, like slides down to the cars. You see that?
Yeah.
Why didn't they just back the cars up to the fucking truck and just start like so much faster than Handsome Rob just throwing it on this slide, and they're doing one brick at a time. And also, every time they show them putting the bricks in the block boxes that are in the back of the car, it's like they're just taking their sweet ass time. Just throw them in there. It doesn't matter if the gold gets scratched or whatever. It's fucking gonna be worth it regardless. Just put them in the goddamn car. They're like,
See, that was my whole thing. I'm thinking, why didn't they just back it up? Because every time they slid the gold down, somebody's like pulling on the little slide to make it go in the car. I'm like, you're wasting time.
Yeah, they're grabbing one brick at a time. They literally could have backed the cars up. They could have grabbed like 4 or 5 bricks at a time and just boop, 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 boop. It could have took a quarter of the time. I'm like, my God, aren't you guys in a hurry? Clearly not. Jeez. But they figure out that the amount of gold they have is worth $27 million. So now it is time for the escape. You get the car chase. You get them zooming all over the place. Zoom. I do love the chicken fight between Charlie and the helicopter that somehow is flying under a bridge, which is real, by the way. There's no special effects here. This pilot actually was able to do this. But also, like, what is this movie at the end here? What are we doing? I would have loved it.
Not?
I want a car chase. I want them in a car. I want them in their Coopers, and I want Steve in another car. He does show up in a car later, but it's not a chase. He just cops in a car and drives away.
Yeah, he steals a Bronco.
Yeah, I don't know. The helicopter it was so dumb. I just feel like Edward Norton wanted to do no driving school or wanted to do no driving lessons. So he's like, I'm not driving any cars.
He's being lazy.
I'm just going to sit here and fly around in a helicopter or pretend to fly around in a helicopter.
Let somebody pilot me, drive me around.
But I mean, it's funny because like you got Charlie trying to go one way, the helicopter moves over. Then he goes over like a ramp, and the back rotor fucking grinds on the side of his car. And I love his reaction in the car. He's like, as glass is just flying into his face. I'm like, no, there's some glass on your eye, bro.
But
he was not wearing his safety glasses.
No,
absolutely
which
not.
you should, because I had an incident over the weekend. It's a good idea to wear your safety glasses when you're working on a vehicle or any dangerous situation, or if you're firing a firearm. Because I was bleeding the brakes on my truck, and I thought it was a good angle, and I literally got brake fluid bukkake like right in my fucking eye. And for those of you that don't know
what brake fluid bukkake is,
brake fluid bukkake, patent pending, is it literally hit me like directly like in my right eye. But I had the glasses on. The brake fluid I was using, or this truck uses, is corrosive and it can blind you permanently. So be safe out there, people. It's a good idea because you never think it's always never going to happen when you're ready for it. So just wear your fucking safety glasses. And also don't do that. Don't put a rotor into a vehicle like that. The helicopter's not going to be able to fly anymore.
Right.
You fuck up your rotor.
I mean, he does land. Fly. He does land, and then he steals the Bronco and drives away.
Yeah, it's just stupid.
So for my job, I use equipment that uses hydraulic fluid, and one time I was doing my job and a hydraulic line burst right into my face. Just
once.
Just absolutely exploded, covered me in hydraulic fluid.
I'd like to say that's an unfamiliar feeling, but go ahead.
I was fine. Just washed myself up.
I'm good. I'm glad.
But then later on, we had to take a class to get a light because we had to get a state license to drive certain vehicles that we use for our job.
Yeah.
And we had a class. It was like a 5-hour class with this guy, and he's talking about hydraulic fluid. And he's like, if you get hydraulic fluid, you get enough hydraulic fluid, it'll soak into your skin and it'll kill you instantly. And I went, Am I a medical miracle right now? Because that is horse shit. Who told you that?
I've never heard that. But
what?
I don't know. I don't know what fluid you use. I don't know what fluid you use. So.
I mean, I guess if it's hot enough, maybe. If it was like under a lot of pressure, but instantly, I don't know about that, dude.
That sounds like maybe like a scare tactic.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
So you're too smart for that shit. No wool over his eyes. Sorry, carry on. Sorry.
No, it's fine. So they all make it back to kind of the end of the line where the job is done. They park their cars into a storage container. Steve shows up a little bit later and kind of bribes Wrench into letting him open up the storage container. But, at first you're like, oh, is Wrench going to betray them? But no, he was just doing it because it was kind of the plan the whole time. Charlie comes out.
He made $2,500.
Made $5,000.
Well, no, he half now, half later.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yep. And he's played. Steve is done. He pretty much he gets turned into Mashkoff because he finds out that Steve was the one who killed Yevon. But I love how I do, dude. Fucking slimy Steve. He's like, he was dead when I got there. He worked in he dealt with dangerous people. Blah blah blah. And he's like, you're full of shit. Shut up.
You tried to I'll pay you whatever, and then nope. Mark Wahlberg just gives him money. He's like, nope, my deal's already done, bitch.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. He's like, I'll pay you more than what he's gonna pay you. He wheels out the little cart or the little suitcase. He's like, too late. I paid him. And and Steve is clearly going to be killed because you find out earlier in the movie that Mashkoff runs a salvage yard, and he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna throw you in one of my pieces of equipment, and that'll be your end of your life. And Edward Norton's just like, at least it means I'm out of this movie.
Yay!
Done.
I forgot to mention, because at the end of this movie you find the job's all done, everybody's happy, yay, and you find out everybody gets the things that they mentioned earlier in the movie. Steve Handsome Rob gets his car
and an STD.
Well, somehow he must put off a crazy ass pheromone, because that cop comes up.
Big energy, dude.
That cop comes up. She takes off her helmet. She's like, I'm like, bro, he's getting boned right there with the fucking siren on. Like, what is happening?
Guys, remember, big dick energy leads to big dick injury, so please be careful. There's no way this dude makes it till like he's old. He's gonna have some random like hyper STD from all the different people he's fucked in his life.
Holy shit, dude.
He's safe.
He's got a sip of Herpalades or something.
Yeah, what's left ear gets his house with his shoes, the room for his shoes and the first edition books. He's got somebody clean his shoes. Then we have Lyle. I fucking hate this. So Lyle finally gets his stereo, and he's got an attractive woman there who he's like,
The
"Oh, I
Shannon
need you to."
Elizabeth stand-in.
It's because
Pretty
she's got
much.
the boobies.
Yeah. And he has her stand in front of the stereo, and he turns it on, and supposedly it rips off her clothes. I'm like, it does way more than that. She's deaf. She has
Lyle,
permanent hearing damage. Like, what?
you should say Lyle has been sentenced to 25 years in prison for homicide because he just killed her. Like she's dead.
No, she has her head turned. She just joins left ear. And
Like, at least
she's
if you're
right.
gonna
She's right ear.
do whatever he like, he's like, I bought a stereo that can tear women's clothes off. It's like, whatever, bro. Can you just make sure they consent first? Probably not. For at least for him.
Protection.
At least give them At least put on some
proper
fucking
PPE.
Yes.
Wear your proper PPE.
If you're gonna permanently like alter someone's life, Jesus, Lyle, you suck.
I still love Lyle in the airport when he yells and everybody looks at him. He's like, it's the Holy Ghost. I'm like, damn it. Shouldn't laugh at that, but I did.
And what does Charlie get out of this whole thing? Well, he gets Stella.
Ruins his life by getting married. Congratulations.
He kisses the girl.
Yeah.
Under the sea. Not under the sea yet.
He's gonna redo the Italian job. He's gonna be the third time. He's gonna blow both her holes out.
What the fuck? Oh,
he's saving that one for the whole fucking movie.
But I forgot to mention earlier though that Steve had all the things that they wanted in his house. He had the stereo. He had Rob's car. The way the house looked and all that stuff.
He's an unimaginative fuck.
That's what they talk about the whole time. He's like, because when Steve states that Yevon was dead before he got there, and Mashov's like, "You're right. He has no imagination." Because that was kind of the whole thing. Was he just wasn't a very imaginative person?
No.
So
that's why he's always number 2.
Right. And what do you think that? Punch in the face. But yeah, that's the Italian Job from 2003. Now it's time to go around the room and share our final thoughts on the movie. Dan, lead us off.
I'm just concerned with
read us off, right? Lead us off?
Yes.
Not beat us off.
No, lead us off, Dan.
Dude, please.
I was just concerned about the noises you were making.
Video viewers, I was just here like, I was like, giving the Italian Job. Anyway, so
Italian
this
sausage.
movie, I love this movie. I think it's fun. It's what Parker talked about. I mentioned it. Angela probably mentioned it. It's early 2000s as fuck. But it's fun. It's got its like cheeky bullshit with blowing clothes off and stuff, but it still tries to stick to its movie where it plays most of it pretty straight, but it's got its gags here and there, and it's a fun movie. The chases are fun. The cast is really good. I think it's a little long. It could have been a little bit shorter. But other than that, it's a fun movie. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. We'll watch the original and talk about that at some point for sure. But I still need to see it. Definitely. But that's mine. Go watch it. It's good stuff.
Listen, you can't have Seth Green in a movie without there being some kind of cheeky humor going on. I said he can never be serious in a movie. Like it can't do it. But I love this. I love practical effects. So all the car chases, helicopters, I loved it. Are you okay?
What is happening over there?
I don't know. I'm concerned.
E-brakes?
There's a lot of e-brake pulls in this movie.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
want to remind people these are front wheel drive vehicles. That shit does not necessarily work that way. You can scoot you, but you don't. The momentum's different, dude. Anyway, carry on.
I'm sorry, the whole scene
It's so cool. It's so
with
cool.
at the end with Mark Wahlberg in the parking garage with the helicopter. He tries so hard to get that car to go, and it just doesn't go anywhere. I'm like, here he is putting the brakes on, and it's like the car goes. I'm like, okay, you're good. You're good.
Gold. It's heavy.
But here I am waiting for him to make the whole turnaround, and he tries so hard, and it just kind of scoots a little bit. Okay.
How many was 208 bars of gold, right?
Yeah, they did the math. It was like 208 from
27.
like 27 or something like that.
27 million.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. Yes, keep talking.
It was, yeah, because Ridley even mentioned it because they rattled off the math really quick. I don't know how much it was, but yeah, go watch it, please. Can't wait to watch the original.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen this movie in a very long time. It's probably been over a decade or so. But this was one I watched a lot growing up, and it's definitely a movie of its time. It came out in 2003. It definitely feels like a movie that came out in 2003. The jokes and kind of the way characters were written, and just how it was back then. I still had a lot of fun watching this movie. I mean, I think Edward Norton's performance is worse this time around than I remember. I always remember liking his villainous turn because I think he plays a very good villain. You could just tell he just didn't want to be. I feel like he just didn't want to be there. He's just like, get me through this movie, get me out of here, get me out of this contract, whatever. But
He
yeah,
definitely could have been better. Not his best performance.
yeah, but
it's
the
still
cast is
enjoyable.
still great. I think Charlize Theron is the best out of the cast. I think she portrays the best, like emotionally. She's great. This was the same year she did Monster, which she won an Academy
Really?
Award for.
Oh.
So
Damn.
you want to watch two completely different fucking movies? Watch The Italian Job and then watch Monster, where she plays a real life serial killer, and it doesn't even look like her at all.
Yes. I want to point something out because I got curious. I took 208 gold bars divided by 3 because there were 3 vehicles, which is 69.3 bars. So let's just say 69 bars per vehicle. And the average bar weight of a bar of gold is 27.4 pounds per bar. That's 1,890 pounds worth of gold in these vehicles.
Damn.
I know they lowered the weight, up the power. Realistically, I do not think these cars would have been able to hold these gold because the car itself weighs between 2,300 and 2,500 pounds. The Cooper S.
Yeah.
I do not think it would have been able to hold the thing. In all realism, I don't think it would have been able to. So with the fact that it was a little sluggish moving, I'm not going to blame it for that. But I was just curious how much weight that actually was.
Dude,
So
that
it was
one
almost
scene
the weight
though,
of the vehicle.
when after they get the gold bricks and they're driving through that tunnel and they got the 2 motorcycles chasing after them, and then the car, all of them come out of the tunnel and they're like nosing it.
Yep.
And then Jason Statham like spins it around and tells Seth Green to open his door. Or no, maybe it was Left Ear told him to open his door.
Yeah, it was Money Guy. Left Ear.
Yeah.
And they hit the guy on the bike.
Yeah, that's going. Yeah, they would never have nosedived. They would have had almost their entire weight in the ass end. They would have.
Woo. Yeah.
Would have bottomed out the back. Yeah.
They probably had to pop some tires.
It would probably have destroyed the subframe. Like I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they did something for movie stuff, but when you just anyway, I just want to know how much weight that was.
Well, now we're going to go over to social media and see what you all had to say about The Italian Job from 2003. We only got a couple. So thank you for commenting. If you want to comment on the movies that we're covering, make sure to follow us over on X and over on Instagram, Threads. Those are where I post the movie we're talking about. And leave your comments if you have any thoughts on what we're covering. Our 2 comments, though, our first one is from our good friend Darren from Nostalgia Cast and Back to Bluey, or at DW Lundberg over on X/Twitter. He said, "It's so fun. The actors bounce off each other so well, and that entire third act is all terrific payoff. I especially like the restaurant scene where the team comes to Stella's rescue. Plan be damned, because their loyalty to each other matters more than the heist itself." Very well said. Very well said. And the next one is from at Darth Emick or Michael Mathis, who said, I think it's a great movie with a solid cast. My friend quotes this movie often, especially the handsome Rob and Cable Woman part. It's a great scene.
Oh, dude. That's motherfucker Mike, dude.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Okay.
Mike is awesome.
Yeah, Mike he's the shit, dude. He's from the Remember the Game community, Adam stuff.
Ooh.
And we met him there. He's a really cool dude.
Him and
Magic player.
Jeff.
And his brother Jeffrey Mathis, the Mathis brothers.
And they do not call each other by shortened versions of their name.
Matthew and Jeffrey.
Yes. Okay. And it's great.
I would never call my brother by his full name. I just don't. It's just, but I respect it. It's cool. Anyway, cool dude. Awesome. Thank you very much. Remember you, Mike. You're badass, dude.
Yes, thank you so much to Darren and Michael for leaving us some of those comments. We appreciate you, and please follow us so you can leave your comments. We love reading the comments. Please, we want to see more. So please go follow us.
Tag
please.
Mark Wahlberg in this post, please. If you retweet it, tag
Jesus.
Mark Wahlberg.
And then we're blocked.
I don't think he's on Twitter anyway.
Is he?
We don't have any comments on any other apps, so that is going to be it for the Italian Job 2003. Now we get to look forward to next week. Yes. It's a whole new month, whole new set of movies, and next month is going to be our now called On the Sea month, where we're going to be talking about movies that are based on or in the ocean or sea. And we're going to start with... go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you finish, and I'll say my dumb shit. Sorry.
We're going to start with my pick, because I never get to go first for picks.
Yeah.
So next week, we are going to be talking about 1977's Orca.
Yes.
I'm very excited about this. I know we've had some people request that we talk about this movie. So I'm very, very excited to finally sit down and watch it and talk about it and maybe have a guest for it. I don't know. As of right now, we don't, but who knows come next week. So
I'm excited to talk about fetuses.
So good. So good. I remember watching that as a kid. Yep. Crazy. But yeah, other than that, you can follow us on all those social media sites that I just mentioned before at Dissect That Film. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/Dissect That Film, where you can financially support us in any way. You can join at a free tier to participate in polls, which is really fun. We have a Patreon exclusive show over there called The Monster Zone, which is hosted by Dan and Angela. And if you would like to financially support us in any way, that's the way you can do it. If you can't do that, that is perfectly okay. All we ask of you is to go over to your favorite podcast app of choice and leave us 5 stars. Leave us a review if you can. It really, I think it helps the show, and it really brings up our morale. We really feel good about it, and we really appreciate it.
I like reading them.
And if you want to watch us in video form, we do that too over on youtube.com/Dissect That Film, where we have the video versions of every episode ever for the show. Make sure to subscribe if you can. It's free. Like the video and leave a comment on the movie itself, or just leave a comment on whatever you want to talk about. I read them all and I respond to them all. So yeah, we love reading the comments there as well. Yeah. As for that, I'm going to go over to Patreon and I'm going to thank our wonderful patrons, because I say I'm going to do it every week and then I forget to do it. So I'm going to do it this time.
We're too busy talking to the patrons and stuff that we just forget to thank them. It's nothing personal. That's how it happens.
So thank you to our wonderful patrons: Billy Joseph Jr., Andrew Schoening, Corey Morissette, Jason, the Flicks and Friends podcast, Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming, Doom Generation, Eric Stein, Robert Stewart, Rudy5453, and the Baron's Hideout podcast, and Dennis, Charles, Bucket of Chum, the Shark Movie Podcast, and official Joey C. Thank you all for being a part of the Patreon. We appreciate you. Make sure to go over to our Patreon. And there's probably a poll going on right now. I don't know what it's for, but there's probably a poll over there. So join at any of the tiers, even the free tier, and you can participate in those polls.
Yeah.
Please. We want...
Put your 2 cents in.
Yes, please. We want you to participate in those things. All right. I think that's about it, everybody. You guys got anything left before we get going? Did I miss anything? I always feel like I missed something.
No, I think you're good. We should have named this month "It's About the Sea," man.
I mean, we could change it. It's not set in stone.
No. You're good. Yours is good. Carry on. I like yours.
I hope everybody enjoyed our Movies with Wheels month. It was a lot of fun. We talked about a lot of fun movies, and we're very excited to talk about some ocean movies next month. It's going to be a good one. We got 5. I think July's only 4 weeks. Never mind. All right. Well, before I start rambling and all that crazy stuff, until next time, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming, and we are Dissect That Film. And this has been another episode of the Dissect That Film podcast. See y'all again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.